Okay, yeah, we're live. The connection is excellent. So far, so good. Okay, let me know if there's any issue, but it looks like we can start. Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to the Foreman community demo. I'm Nafar, I'm a Foreman developer, and I'll be your host for today's demo. Today we have some updates to share with you about our latest release, Foreman 3.6, and some new things we've been working on. The demo today will be short since last demo was 2 weeks ago, but we decided to do the demo today anyway since we want to stick to our schedule and have the demo every 3 weeks, also to align with our sprint. Okay, so first thing first, as always, we want this demo to be as interactive as possible, so feel free to write questions and comments to us on IRC at the Foreman. And you can also write here on the YouTube live chat, as both will be monitored. Okay, so the agenda for today, as I said, is going to be pretty short. I have some quick announcements regarding our first release candidate. Then Ian will talk about some pulp upgrades. After that, Jeremy registering a host of multiple content views, and me, last one, some feature we added to Ansible with the callback plugin per template. Okay, so our first announcement for today, I guess also the last one, we'll see. So it's about the Foreman 3.6 release. The first release candidate is finally out for Foreman 3.6, of course. You have approximately 2 weeks to test it. There's a community post with installation and upgrade instructions, so you can test it and provide real value to the project. We really hope to get your feedback because it will help us to improve the stability also for the future release. We would really appreciate your participation. Yeah, so no more announcement on my side. So Ian, whenever you're ready, feel free to share your updates with us.
Sounds good. Thank you, Nufar. Hey everyone. So anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ian. I'm a developer who works mostly on the Catello side of things. And I just want to give a quick update that Pulpcore 3.22 will be coming to Catello 4.8. And along with Pulpcore 3.22, we also have an upgrade in the Pulp RPM plugin, which is bumping up to 3.19, and the Pulp file plugin, which is bumping up to, I believe it's 1.12. And I just wanted to shout out some features that the Pulp team introduced. I'm just looking right from their changelog. If you want to see any other features or bug fixes, you can just go to Pulp's GitHub page and look at their changes.rst file. That's where their changelog lives. So as far as Pulpcore 3.22 is concerned, some of the features, they say they added dates to the HTML pages that list the content of distributions. They created a hidden fields mix and serializer and added hidden fields to remote serializer and user serializer. Some of this stuff is probably going to be more developer focused. But they also added the Pulpcore manager commands called remove signing service for removing signing services. There's a new Pulp option called hide guarded distributions, which allows you essentially to hide content guard protected distributions so they won't be listed on the API. They added a content settings part to the Pulp status output. So if you ever need to see how your Pulp is performing, you can type Pulp status in the Pulp CLI, and now you'll see a new content settings part. Let's see, some of this stuff I'm guessing won't be related to you all. Let's see. Oh, and lastly, so this is about Pulp Analytics, which right now in Foreman and Catello. They don't, we're not turning it on by default. Eventually we would like to, but we need to give people plenty of warning, of course. And we haven't developed that, so it's off by default. But they say the new analytics setting is replace the telemetry setting to avoid any confusion with application metrics. So a lot of this is just settings related. And then there's a whole host of bug fixes under Pulpcore. And then for Pulp RPM, some of the features, one big feature that folks might appreciate, this doesn't really apply to Foreman and Catello, but for Pulp in general, they added RBAC support for the RPM plugin. So if you're using Pulp by itself, you might be able to appreciate that feature for your authentication. They also added docs for this RBAC, so you can actually use it. And let's see, Catello doesn't use this right now, but tree info is added to types that Pulp can skip, which we may end up adding that along with SRPMs. For those of you who know, on the repository side, you can skip RPMs during syncing, and now it looks like we can also skip some Kickstart files, the tree info. And that's about it. If you want to look at the rest of it, again, just check out Pulp's GitHub page. And please do let us know if you catch any issues with things like content view publishing, syncing, capsule syncing, etc., because they may be related to the new Pulp upgrade. And we did, by the way, test N-1 smart proxy syncing. So you should be able to sync smart proxies that are still running the older versions of Pulp to your new Catello that has the new versions. So you can wait a bit before upgrading your smart proxy. And that is it from me.
Okay, thanks, Ian. If someone has any questions, please feel free to ask now or later after our next topic. Okay, I guess we can move on to our next topic, which will be presented by Jeremy. So Jeremy, whenever you're ready.
Thanks so far. Okay, so today I am here to talk to you about an exciting new feature for Catello 4.8, which is allowing hosts to register to multiple content views. Hopefully everyone can hear me and see my screen. Please let me know if not. So the use case for this feature is it's useful for some organizations. If you have multiple teams in your organization and each team wants to have their own content view and update it independently, normally what you would do is use composite content views. But the problem with that is each time one of the underlying content views is published, you also have to publish your composite content view. That can result in a lot of publishes and other inconveniences. So for certain large organizations, this feature is going to help out a lot. So Candlepin, as you know, Candlepin is the backend system that handles subscriptions and access to content. Candlepin has had this feature for quite some time now. And in Catello 4.8, we're just now enabling it for the first time. So just to let you know, this feature is in very early stages right now. There are almost no changes to the web UI. There are no changes to Hammer, and there are no changes to the API. The only changes that you'll actually see are, first, we have a new setting here. It's under Settings, Content, and it defaults to No. And once you turn it on, you'll be able to use the feature. And then the only other thing we changed is make sure we don't break anything in the web UI. So it's actually a significant code change under the hood, because you can imagine how many times content views and lifecycle environments are mentioned in the Catello code base. And we basically had to go through and change all of that. So I've been seeing multiple content views here. I guess a little more technically accurate term would be content view environments. And I just want to show you what that looks like. I'm going to switch to my terminal here. And there is a subscription manager command, subscription manager environments, that you can run on any host that's subscribed. And it will show you these, what we call in Catello content view environments. And what these are is each of these is a combination of a lifecycle environment and a content view. And that basically helps Catello decide which content view version your host has access to. So for example, if my host were subscribed to this dev zoo view environment, that means it's the dev lifecycle environment and the zoo view content view. And it would get whatever version of the zoo view content view is promoted to the dev environment. That's a lot of words, but that's how it works. And so if you want to use this feature, there's a subscription manager command. And for right now, if you want to use this feature, you have to use subscription manager register with a username and password. You cannot use an activation key. You cannot use the global registration template. All of this will not be true once we finish building out the feature. But for right now, this is how you have to do it. So I think, yeah, my system's already registered. So actually, when you have a system that's already registered that you want to use this feature on, because subscription manager register with username and password is the only way to use it, you must first unregister. So I'm going to quickly unregister here. And by the way, this also requires subscription manager version 1.28.29 on RHEL 8. If you try this and it complains about not knowing what the environments flag means, just upgrade subscription manager and it should work just fine. So quickly, I want to show you the content views I've created here that we're going to register our host to. So I have two content views here. They're both version 1.0. They're both published. I've got this client tools content view that just has one repository in it, which is the client 6 repository. And then my other content view is the zoo view. Also has one repository in it, which is the zoo repo. And so these are the content views that we're going to register to. So I'm going to try this command again, and I think it's going to fail again. Yeah, it does. So registering to multiple environments is not enabled. And the reason for that is I haven't turned on this setting yet. So let's go over to Administer, Settings, and the Content tab. And I'm going to set that to yes. And now, when I rerun this command, it registers just fine. So like you saw before, it's just a comma-separated list of those environments, and that's how you register to multiple environments. There is another subscription manager command that we can run to confirm that our host has been registered to multiple content views, and that's subscription manager environments -- list enabled. And so if you see more than one content view environment here, that means your host is registered to multiple content views. This is right now the only way to see for sure if your host is registered to multiple content views, because like I said before, we haven't really made any changes to the web UI. So let me show you what that looks like a little bit. It kind of lies to you a little bit. Like for instance, this content view details card, it's only showing one content view here. We know that's a lie. We know it's registered 2 content views. Likewise, when I go to repository sets, I have this banner here that's showing only repositories in the client tools content view. That's also not true. So I'm going to X that out. The one thing we kind of did get for free with the UI is it does show you the correct repository sets. I have limit to environment here, and you see it's showing me both of these repositories because I'm registered to both content views. So once I enable this, I'm going to be able to go back and run subscription manager repos, and we can see this host has access to the client 6 repository and the zoo repository, even though those are in 2 different content views. So that's the basics of how the feature works. Now, what happens if you go back here to the setting and turn it off? Let's run that again. The answer is nothing. So if you have a host registered to multiple content views and you turn that setting off, it will remain registered to multiple content views. The setting will only affect things at the time of registration. So that is the state of our new feature for now. Coming in future releases of Catello, the next things we're going to build regarding this feature, you're going to be able to do it with activation keys, host groups, and then, of course, all of the UI updates that come with that. So right now I'm asking the open source community for help. Even if you don't want to use the setting, you're still going to be helping us out a lot because of all of those under the hood code changes. Just go through your normal content related workflow. And if you see any weird bugs around content views, lifecycle environments, or if any pages don't load, please just go report them at community.foreman.org in the support section. So yeah, thanks in advance for your help there. And as always, I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jeremy. Let's see if we have some questions. So far, I don't see anything. Okay, I think we're ready for our last topic for today, which will be presented by me. Yep, no questions. Let's see. Connection is still excellent, great. Okay, so let me share my other screen. Okay, so my next topic, which I want to tell you about, is a new feature we added to Foreman Ansible plugin, which I'm working on. So this feature, let me demonstrate. So we have the job templates, and until now, the current state was that if you wanted to run Ansible roles on some host from the UI, for example, if I chose some random host which I'm using, and I am clicking here on run Ansible roles. So actually, yeah, we can do that together. So what happened is it triggered the playbook that runs all the roles that are assigned to this host. You can see here job under the running status. Let me open it, and what happened behind the scene was that I actually used okay, so I think you can only see one tab, so let me try to fix it real quick. So just a sec. Let's see if this would work. Yeah, okay, it's working. And now I need to check. It's also working for, yeah, it's working also for the G Meet, the Google Meet. Okay, great. And I'm sorry, I can continue now. So where was I? Okay, so what happened behind the scene when I triggered this run all Ansible role for the host is that this default Ansible default template, job template, was used. And if you're not familiar with it, what it does, basically just runs all the roles, as I said, on this particular host. And the new feature that I added is here, the new tab under Ansible, which allows you to enable the Ansible callback plugin. This is the default playbook we're using, so we didn't want to change anything that already exists in Foreman for users are already used to using it, so you can't really change it from here. But the feature is that if you create a new template, any Ansible playbook, basically, so for example here, we'll show you an example with a clone for the default template. So this clone is basically the same template, but it allows me to modify it. So if I'll go again to the Ansible tab, I can check or uncheck the enable Ansible callback plugin. And I don't think I mentioned it, but the great thing about the Ansible callback plugin is that it sends us back facts after every execution, and it allows us to create this report after every Ansible run rolls. Okay, so 3 minutes ago, yeah, this is the report that was generated. And yeah, you can find it here under the config reports. This is the report, so not a lot of data, not anything interesting, because just for the demo, I want it to run really fast. But if you have more complex, let's say, tasks that you executed, you can see the information here. So this report is very important for us. And the new feature is that now you can add the Ansible callback to any job template, Ansible job template, of course, and the callback plugin will be enabled and will send us back some facts and information about the recent job execution, which will allow us to create the report we just seen. I think that's it for this feature. I would also like to mention that you can use this new field, this enable Ansible callback from Hammer and also from the API. I won't show this today, but it's supported and you can use it from the API and Hammer, as I said. Yeah, there's documentation for it, so you can read more about it if you decide to use it from the API and from Hammer. And I think that's it on my side. I can show you an example of using the default job template, the clone for the default job template, because we have some time, so you can think about questions meanwhile. I'll just go back to my host. And you can use this feature if you want to execute a job, and well, if you have many rows, not the case for us, but if you have a lot of tasks to execute and you want it to be done faster, so you can enable this feature, and this way this job will run much faster for you. So we have Ansible playbook. This time I will choose the clone, and again the clone doesn't have the callback enabled. Okay, click next on everything, run. Okay, that's great. Let's go back to our host. Great. Execution is done. We can see the output here. And let's go to reports, and I'm expecting not to see a report this time. Yeah, there's no report for this time, only the previous report, which I've displayed in the beginning. Yeah, this is the result. Everything looks good. Also, you can see here that the callback disabled by environment, because for the last run we didn't use the Ansible callback. Okay, yeah, so that's it from me. If someone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, I think. Okay, this is it. Let me share my screen again for the last time, and we're done. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen. Yeah, it's tricky to demonstrate something and also to present the demo. But I wanted to say that next demo is on March 23rd, which is in 3 weeks exactly. Yeah, I think there's no more questions. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we're hoping to see you next time.
Thanks, before.